Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. I also have Magic next to me right here, so you might see him, but he's really old and frail, so I'm just gonna leave him where he's comfortable right now. But anyway, today I wanted to talk to you guys about my March favorites for my houseplants. 5 plants that have been doing really well for me that I just can't keep my eyes off of this month. And I got a really nice suggestion last month to sort of share some care tips for my top 5 favorite plants of the month. So I'm going to be doing that as well. 2 of them are going to be pretty much the same care tips, but we'll get there when we get there. So I'm going to put Nutmeg down. You look so grumpy today. Maybe because it's dreary and he hasn't gone outside today. But we're going to put him aside and I'm going to show you the plants. So the first one is a plant you might have seen before on my channel, and that is my Philodendron White Wizard. He just grows so well. He's so cute. He's got a new leaf coming in right here. Hasn't unfurled yet, not as much white as this leaf, but that's okay because I like some balance with my plants. I really enjoy that it puts out high variegated leaves sometimes and other times low variegation, so that it keeps a good balance within the plant and it is constantly growing. If all of the leaves look like this, it would probably be a super slow growing plant. That's just kind of how variegation works. The more chlorophyll that a leaf can absorb, the better it's gonna grow. So with this one, I have been growing it from a cutting for a little bit over a year now. It was a 2 or 3 leaf cutting, and it's basically lived in this pot its whole life just because I haven't really seen roots kind of forming in circles around the bottom. Once it does that, I will repot it and give it something for support, but right now it's doing a really good job of keeping itself balanced. I personally have it in a moss, perlite, orchid bark mix. It seems to be loving it. I keep it in a shaded part of my cabinet because my experience with variegated philodendrons is that they sunburn super easily. So they actually don't like super bright light. And I'm trying to see, yeah, there's a little bit of sunburn on the edge of this leaf and a little bit of sunburn here on this leaf. So it got a little bit too much of a bright light, but other than that, it's pretty happy, and I just water it whenever the moss is dry. The cabinet gets a decent amount of humidity. I actually stopped using humidifiers in there because I'm just too lazy for it, and it doesn't make that much of a difference in my opinion. A closed cabinet is enough. So it's probably hovering between 60 and 70% humidity. The next plant that is one of my favorites for the month might be surprising given the amount of smack I've talked on these plants, but this is, oh, there went the tag. This is my Alocasia Scalp, and isn't she gorgeous? Oh my God, do you see the texture on that leaf? Wow, this is the newest leaf, yeah. She is stunning. I love her so much. She's been through a lot. At one point, I bought her in Maryland. She didn't love the drive over to Texas when we moved here, and eventually she just kind of went back to a rhizome. I don't know if you can see it in there. It's a pretty big rhizome. I think that's what saved her really. Went back to a rhizome, all the roots rotted. I put her in moss here and she eventually rooted. You can kind of see a bunch of roots here. Gave me some big beautiful leaves and even a little baby plant sprouted from the side. So she's pretty happy now. I keep her pretty dry. Drier than like my philodendrons and my Hoyas. I'm just so afraid of overwatering her, but I kind of wait until the leaves get a little bit more flimsy to water. That's what's been best for me anyway, because they just love to rot on me if I don't do it this way. So I just wait till they're a little bit flimsy. This is definitely still firm, so I'm gonna let her do her thing. And yeah, she's just been pretty happy. She recently put out this leaf, like I said, and put out this one. There's a couple new leaves on the way in here, so that's really fun. She's been pretty bushy to look at. Oh gosh, just dropping medium everywhere. She's been pretty bushy to look at, sorry. if you look at her head on, so that's always really nice too. One major complaint with alocasias is that they can often just only hold 1 or 2 leaves at a time, and they look kind of sad. They don't look the healthiest, but with some good fertilizer and proper care, they're gonna stay happy. Another thing is keeping them properly watered as well. If they have too much water and they're rotting, then they're gonna lose leaves. If they have not enough water, they're gonna lose leaves as well to conserve energy. So there is a sweet spot with them. It's very hard to find with alocasias, but I think I have found it with this one. So fingers crossed that she still loves me next month. But if you miss it, this is my Alocasia Scalp. The next plant on my top 5 favorite plants this month is going to be one of 2 Hoyas on this list. This is my Hoya Dribach. And I feel like this is a hybrid, but I don't know of what. Either way, it's really cute. You think so? I think it's cute. Cute enough for a sniff. But anyway, it has this very subtle veining on the leaves. I don't know if you can see it. And sometimes it'll just put out one little bit of splash, but it's just very cool. I wish there was a newer leaf that I could show you. This is the newest leaf. It's 2 cuttings in here, or it was. I guess you could call it a plant now. It's pretty well rooted. This is the newest leaf, and you can kind of see that it's a little bit of a different color, but the emergent leaves are this beautiful dark crimson color, and that's what I love about it. And the stems, before the stems kind of harden off, are the same way, but it's just this vibrant dark leaf. And then it eventually fades to this nice green, but it's just a beautiful plant overall, and I really don't see this very often. Not many sellers offer it. I don't see it in many people's collections, and I think it's a shame because it's such a nice plant. Very easygoing for a Hoya. I will admit I do probably underwater this plant more than I should, and I should give it bigger digs because it's very well rooted in here. But it seems happy enough so far. I keep it in my Hoya cabinet with most of my other Hoyas, and I try to water it when the moss gets dry. I have been using Miracle-Gro orchid fertilizer on this one. I kind of switch off between that and Osmocote to fertilize my plants, and I will say fertilizer has really changed the game for me. My plants are growing so much faster because of it. I can't believe I wasn't fertilizing sooner. But anyway, that's kind of the care tips for this. I find that Hoyas in general really love light, and they really love heat more so than humidity. So my cabinet in there gets pretty warm and pretty bright. So that leaves for a happy Hoya. The 4th of 5 plants that I have been favoring this month is one that you also might have seen before on my channel, but probably not for a while, and it's grown quite a bit. And this is my Philodendron Carnival. And I've talked about this before, but carnivals are kind of like the Rio mutation, but they still have the yellow variegation instead of cream. So they are characterized by a silver center in the leaf. Let me find a good one. This one's perfect. See this silvery center here? But it still has the yellow Brazil variegation, and they're often found as a strand of a Brazil that you might find in a giant pot at Lowe's or Home Depot or something. This is a combination of 2 or 3 that I have found. I'm always looking for them when I'm at a big box store because they're pretty popular and not a lot of people really realize what they have. So if you see someone selling it, they know what they're talking about usually. And this one has just been growing really well. I kind of have been wrapping it around, but this is the longest branch, and it's been putting out some really interesting leaves. This one is almost all yellow with a streak of silver in the middle, and then some silver on the side, which is fun. This one is yellow with a silver streak in the middle as well, and then just sort of some of the typical leaves that you would see from a Philodendron Carnival. This one I have been growing in moss with kind of an experiment of perlite at the, or not perlite, I'm sorry, that's what I normally use, leca at the bottom, and it seems to be going really well. The roots gravitated toward that the leca reservoir of water that I had at the bottom. So it rooted really quickly, and that allowed for it afterwards to focus on growth, which is what it's doing now. I just keep it in regular room humidity in here. It gets very warm in here because on this side I have a floor to ceiling window and I get direct sun in the morning, so that heats up the room for the rest of the day. Humidity is probably pretty average, 50 to 60%, so not crazy high, but not low enough that it would stunt growth on this plant. And it's the same care as any heartleaf philodendron, really. Pretty basic, pretty easy, but you get a beautiful plant out of it. And lastly, if Magic will stop sitting on the plant. Come on, buddy. Thank you. Okay, this is one of my favorite Hoyas. Probably seen it before on one of these videos, but this is my Alocasia Louisa Silver, and oh my gosh, she is just so beautiful. She is stunning. It's kind of a dreary day. I wish there was more sunlight for you to see, but she is just the most beautiful silvery Hoya I have ever laid eyes on. The leaves are very big for Alocasia as well. Maybe it's because I only have 3 or 4 types of Alocasia, but they seem really big. When I think of Alocasia, I think of pretty small leaves, and these are a good size. You can kind of see my hand for comparison, and she's just been very easy growing. This fall and winter, she went through a huge growth spurt. She actually just started as a 2-node cutting here. So she grew all of this from fall to winter to now. And I'm waiting to see if she'll slow down once the weather is warming up. We did just have our last bit of cold here in Texas, and it's going to get warmer from here. So we'll see what she does. I'm kind of hoping that she continues to grow, but I heard that she is mostly a winter grower. So we'll see. Either way, she gave me a very nice growing season. The backs of the leaves are super pretty too, kind of like the New Guinea Ghost. But I treat her the exact same way that I do the other Hoya that I just showed you. Grow her in moss. This one I am also using the Miracle Grow orchid fertilizer for. Keep her in the cabinet. I give her a lot of light. She's actually pretty close to the grow light in there, and she gets a lot of heat, and she seems pretty happy with what's going on in there. I'm thinking at some point I should probably put her on a trellis, but then I'd have to remove her from the cabinet, and I don't really want to do that. So as long as she doesn't put out any vines without leaves, I'm just gonna keep her in here, keep her happy, and yeah. What do you think? Do you love her as much as I do? Because I think she's gorgeous. She's just the best plant. So that is it for my 5 favorite plants for the month of March. Let me know how you liked these plants too, or if you have any plants that are your favorites this month. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give us a like down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything else from me and my kitties like Magic here. Thank you so much again, and we'll catch you in the next one.